hopefully everybody's break was amazing. Today and the rest of the week, you guys are going to have videos followed up with classwork. Make sure that you're using the Remind app to get a hold of me. Today is Monday. Remember that we're on a shortened class day, so you guys will be done in here at 9:03. So today's Monday. You need to get out your blue notebooks as well as your math notebooks. Take notes as we go through this. I will make sure that you guys pause the video accordingly, and then you will get classwork time. Remember that anything that is not finished in the class becomes homework, and it is due as soon as you walk into the classroom tomorrow so that we can go over it. So if you don't have it out now, pause the video, allow everybody to get out their stuff. Okay, our first problem then, this is going into your notebook. I'm going to let you guys try it, and then after you have tried it, then we're going to go over it. Remember that half the battle here is accepting that failure is how we learn. So make sure that we pause the video and allow students to try this problem. Okay, coming back, everybody in here, we should have at least staked down the problem. Find the things that you're having success with. From there, let's move on. Remember that you have to distribute. If you didn't distribute, you're making note of it. Remember that distribution is where we have to take the number that's on the outside and distribute to the inside. There's other tricks that we'll see in the future, but where we are right now, I need you to make sure that we're distributing. So remember that distribution is just fancy multiplication. We're going to take the 3, the value that's on the outside, and distribute into both parts inside the parentheses. Remember that it only goes into the parentheses. So as we start this off, let's start with 3 times 2x. 3 times 2x gives you guys 6x. And then if I continue the distribution, 3 times a positive 5 is a positive 15. That's everything on the left. The equal sign and the 39 need to come down. Make sure you are dropping down the 39. From there, can you combine 6x plus 15? You should have came up with the solution of no, we can't combine those two. So instead, we start going through our steps. Notice step 1 has been taken care of through our distribution. Step 1 was to simplify. So step 1 finished. After that, get your x's to one side. My x's are on one side, so we're also done with that. Remember that it's not 1x, it's x's on one side. So our x's are on one side. Notice we have all 6 x's onto the left. From there, then, we want the x's, still plural, alone. You have 6 x's. I need to get my 6 x's alone. To get my 6 x's alone, I'm going to move the 15. To do so, I subtract 15 from both sides. What you do to one side, you have to do the other. Positive 15 and negative 15 cancel. The 6x then plus 0 more is just 6x. Equals on the other side, they're opposites. So when they're opposites, make sure we subtract accordingly. 9 minus 5 gives you 4, and 3 minus 1 gives you 2. So 6x equals 24. I now have my x's alone and on one side. Notice you still have your 6 x's. Your last step then is to get 1x. You're going to divide both sides by 6. So we divide the left by 6. We divide the right by 6. Remember that we choose to do this. The reason that we do this is that we are wanting to get 1x. 6 over 6 is 1. 1 times x then leaves you with x equals 24 divided by 6 is 4. So we should have had a solution of x equals 4. Now this is our first problem. It's something new that we haven't really done yet. Notice that the only thing that's changed from last week is that we're working with distribution. So as we are moving forward, make sure that we are recognizing that distribution has to happen. This 3 parentheses 2x plus 5, you have to distribute first, and then the other thing that we're really focusing on is this piece. We need to make sure that we are simplifying. Simplifying has to happen prior to solving, at least where we are right now. So that was problem number 1. Allow everybody to take notes on that. If you need to pause the video, do so at any time. On to the next problem. Please pause the video and allow students a couple minutes to finish the problem. You need to be working quickly at this, so please pause the video now. Students should have staked down the problem. Make sure that when we stake down the problem, we have a left side and a right side. Can I do something with the left side? That's that simplify piece. Yes, I can simplify this. When I am simplifying it, I need to distribute the negative 4. It's really important that we recognize that this is a negative 4 on the outside. The negative 4 then must be distributed. So negative 4 on the outside, you're multiplying it by 8. A negative times a positive becomes a negative. 4 times 8 is 32. Continue that distribution. Remember, it's still a negative. Negative times a positive is a negative. Take care of the signs first. 4 times 5 ends then is 20 ends, equals 8 comes down. From there, go through your checklist again. Remember that the checklist is over on the side. It says solving equations. Simplify, we just took care of that. Get x's on one side. When I'm getting the x's, in this case ends on one side, you have negative 20 ends. We have negative 20 ends. That's the only thing that I want over there, so I have to move the minus 32. To get rid of minus 32, I'm adding 32. Remember that you choose this value. Minus 32 and a positive 32 cancel. It becomes a 0. So you are left with a negative 20 in. If you made a mistake on this, there's a good chance that you forgot this negative sign. It has to remain negative. Don't just bring down 20 in. So negative 20 in then equals a positive 40. Signs were the same, so we just added those two numbers. Last step, you need a positive in here. I cannot have a negative in here. I need a positive in there. It's a negative 20 times in. So you are multiplying in times a negative 20. So to get rid of multiplying by negative 20, we're going to divide by negative 20. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. A negative divided by a negative, this is critical, a negative divided by a negative leaves you with a positive there. So a negative divided by a negative leaves you with a positive. And that's our goal. We need a positive in. So negative divided by a negative leaves you with a positive 1. 1 times n is just n equals 40 divided by negative 20. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. Don't lose it in the equal sign. 40 divided by 20 leaves you with 2. So that's problem number 2. Take notes. We're moving on to problem number 3. Once again, allow students to have time and then pause the video. So please pause the video now. Welcome back. You should be distributing. Remember that so far the only thing that's really changed is that we're simplifying on one side. Now it happens that it's all on the left. That's just for our starting piece. It won't always be on the left, but where we are right now, we're simplifying on the left. Something to note. I have a minus 7x over here. It is not in the parentheses. Not in the parentheses. If it is not in the parentheses, then you are not distributing the 6 to it. So do not distribute the 6 to it. This positive 6 over here only gets distributed into the parentheses. Remember that I once said that if someone walked in and distributed candy into the classroom, they don't distribute it out in the hall. So we are only taking the 6 and distributing that positive 6 into the parentheses. So 6 times 3x is 18x. A positive 6 times a negative 5. It's important that we recognize that this is negative. So a positive times a negative is a negative. 6 times 5 is 30. And then do not, I repeat, do not go out here. Red is bad. Do not do that. You can't jump outside the parentheses. So the minus 7x just comes down. Equals then 25. On the left-hand side then, if we pretend that this doesn't exist over here, and you are just looking at this left-hand side, the left-hand side then we are going to combine our like terms. My like terms happen to be the 18x and the negative 7x. So those are where we're focusing first. Don't get rid of anything until after you combine your like terms. So we're still simplifying. So I'm going to combine my 18x, positive 18x, negative 7x. The signs are opposite, so I'm going to subtract. When I subtract, I get 11x's, and then I keep the sign that's farther from 0. Notice the 18 is farther from 0, so this would be a positive 11x. You don't need to write down the plus sign. Just know that it is a positive 11x. The minus 30 then will come down, equals still a 25. So notice, we have only simplified. It took a couple steps to simplify, but that's the only thing that we have done each time. Also, the 25 needs to be brought down every single time. Do not forget to bring down the 25. So, next step then, we are looking at the 11x minus 30. My x's are on one side. My x's are not alone. I'm going to add 30 to both sides. That then takes the 30s on the left, the negative 30 and the positive 30, and cancels them out, so they become a 0. You're left with 11x on the left equals then on the right a positive 55. Last step, get 1x. We're going to divide both parts by 11. Once we divide both sides by 11, 11 over 11 becomes 1x, or just x, equals 55 divided by 11 is 5. On to the next problem. Please pause and allow students to finish this problem. Welcome back. We should have staked down the problem. Same thing as the last one. Notice 15 parentheses t plus 2, and then outside of the parentheses plus 9t. It's identical to this one. We had something where we still needed to distribute, so notice that we distributed here first, and then afterwards we took care of combining like terms. So I'm going to distribute first. It's a positive times a positive, so that's just 15t. If you don't like the t, you can change it to another variable. And then 15 times a positive 2 is a positive 30. Bring down the plus 9t, and then that whole thing is still equal to 6. Now we're combining like terms. If I have a positive 15t and a positive 9t, I'm at a positive 24t. The plus 30 will come down. And then that whole thing is still going to equal 6. Now, next step, my t's are on one side. My t's are not alone. I'm going to subtract the 30 from each side. Remember, I choose these values. I'm subtracting 30 because I need the 30s to cancel over there on the left. When I subtract the 30 from the left, they cancel, so I'm left with 24t equals, and then on the other side, watch this. You have to be careful. This is a positive and a negative. You're not multiplying. You're adding and subtracting. The signs are opposite. When the signs are opposite, you subtract the easy way. The easy way is 30 take away 6. 30 away take away 6 leaves you with 24. But then focus on your rules. Keep the sign of the one that's farther from 0. 30 is farther from 0, so it's a negative 24. Your last step then, and it's okay if you're making mistakes. Remember that we're just correcting. You're going to divide both sides by 24. We do this so that we have a positive 1t, or just t, equals, and then a negative divided by a positive. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. 24 divided by 24 is 1. So t should equal negative 1. Okay, so once again, if you need to, pause or go back and talk through the steps. As we're looking at this, we're moving on to the next. You needed to make sure that you copied that one down into your notebook. Okay, your classwork for the day. Classwork, this is Unit 3.3. Unit 3.3, so this is Worksheet 3 in Chapter 3 or Unit 3. You guys have 4 problems, 2, 3, 6, and 8. Those are due on Tuesday, beginning of class. So I will continue with this tomorrow. 2, 3, 6, and 8. You may pause the video now.